Angel Reese just lost it after getting dragged by experts for that so-called injury. Seriously, if that injury was real, would you really be out here flaunting a rest like you're at some red carpet event? Come on Angel, who are you fooling? Your team is falling apart on the court, in there you are sidelined with your wrist wrapped up like it's a broken heart, acting like it's the tragedy of the century. It's not on. I am of the season. I fell on my herein when I got the world. I felt back for, he added. And you know who else is over it? The experts. They've had enough of your dramatic attempts to stay in the spotlight when everyone else is out here playing. You're not helping your team, you're just hogging the headlines, making it clear you're more about being a celebrity than a basketball player. I would have gotten. She just. Cause I would have been like, have now you can you be. But she is you. So the 22 Angel Reese's wrist injury is the big news that nobody really cares about. The moment it was announced, the internet didn't even flinch, except a question of this whole injury thing is even legit. I mean, come on, the timing suspicious doesn't even begin to cover it. She's neck and neck with Caitlin Clark for Rookie of the Year, and all of a sudden she's injured. Like, really? You're telling me Reese didn't notice her wrist was jacked up until it became crystal clear she couldn't keep up with Clark on the court? Yeah, right. Basically, the doctors told me that I can either not surgery, rat surgery, the risk of 9 surgery. I could literally authorities on. That's when it's useful. As an option within a day. Social media was on fire, not because anyone was sad about race, but because everyone was raising an eyebrow at the coincidence. Fans, experts, no one's buying it, and I don't blame them. People are saying this is a classic case of faking it to avoid getting roasted by Clark on the stat sheet. I mean, if you're really too injured to play the rest of the season, wouldn't you look a little less unaffected? And public go bomb could lead to the crack in would generate Africa hairline. Literally a hairline like shattered, might even that big, with every political smaller school and the experts. Oh, they've gone and hard. Some are saying this injury is his way of backing out of the Rookie of the Year race before Caitlin Clark wipes the floor with her. Can you blame them for thinking that Clark's been tearing it up? She's average 23.4 points a game, stacking up assists like they're going out of style, and don't even get me started on her shooting percentages. Meanwhile, Reese has been struggling. Her shooting's been questionable, her performance inconsistent. There are thousands of people on social media who are claiming that this Angel Reese injury is fake, or as Donnie Brasco would call it, of who Gacy Clark has been a beast all season, carrying the WNBA to heights we haven't seen in years. Viewership through the roof, merch flying off the shelves. And why? Because people can't stop watching Clark dominate race. She's been too busy stirring up drama off the court to make a real impact on it. I can no longer play pretend basketball, but don't worry, lonely man, you will still be able to see me on my podcast, and I'm sure my girl Lotta would give me a creature in her next music video title for 10 basketball meets pretend rap. Now let's get back to this wrist injury. The excuse: this isn't some tragic setback for Reese, it's the centerpiece of her season now, and not in a good way. The fact that so many people are calling it out as fake says more than anything else. If people believed in her, they wouldn't be questioning if she's faking it. This injury showed up just in time to save Reese from an embarrassing loss to Clark in the Rookie of the Year race. And honestly, it's doing nothing for her reputation. As there legitimacy to these claims, what Angel Reese actually fake an injury? Would Angel Reese prematurely and her rookie season to spare herself the embarrassment of losing Rookie of the Year that Caitlin Clark? Meanwhile, as Reese tries to convince everyone her rest is the problem, Caitlin Clark is still out there doing what she does best, shocking the WNBA and making Reese look like yesterday's news. The gap between them isn't just widening, it's a canyon at this point. One is dominating the court and the other just trying to stay relevant and headlines for all the wrong reasons. Reese has always had a flair for being extra. Falling Clark on the court wasn't enough. No, she had to take it to a whole new level, falling out of relevance entirely. And now, just as she's watching Caitlin Clark run circles around her, she's throwing out the injury card like a bad poker hand. Come on Angel, we're not that stupid. The timing is just too perfect when you're about to be humiliated by Clark's stats. You suddenly can't play for the rest of the season. Please, yoga, I belong in league, you know what to believe. Bear grab, where do I hope our border to Kirby job and Brigadier back, so what's left for her? Fake an injury and pray people don't notice she was losing the race for Rookie of the Year by a mile too late. We all see it. Here's where it gets even more pathetic. Recent injury announcement didn't even make sense. She's supposedly out for the season, but somehow she's out there and public, smiling, waving, acting like nothing's wrong. Yeah, Angel, that really screams season-ending injury. No wonder people are calling this out as another one of her desperate stunts. If she was actually hurt, wouldn't she be, I don't know, acting like she was in pain? Instead, she's too busy trying to stay in the headlines because Caitlin Clark's stealing all the glory with, wait for it, actual talent. And can we talk about how we tried to drag Clark's fans into this mess, calling them wild? Wild Angel, the only thing wild here is how delusional you are if you think people are supporting Clark for any reason other than her insane skill. But our fan base has gone, I'm talking about way. I follow way, we see it all as I know, yeah, I see it like I literally was awesome. That's a day that was like Clark has single-handedly boosting WNBA viewership, raking in endorsements and making the league fun to watch again. You're out here throwing shade while she's breaking records and lifting the entire sport on her back. Maybe instead of criticizing her fans, you should take a few notes on how to actually play the game. If anyone's detached from reality, it's Reese herself. Clark's fans aren't hyped up on drama, they're hooked on pure basketball greatness. This isn't some PR stunt, it's about Clark being the kind of player that people pay to watch, whether she is draining threes, dishing out assists, or dominating the court in ways that make your jaw drop. Clark is giving the fans what they want and race. She's more concerned about making headlines for her social media rants than doing anything noteworthy on the court. But hey, go ahead and keep thinking people are tuning in for your latest hot take, Angel. But the real kicker, Caitlin Clark's response to this whole wrist injury fiasco, while everyone else is out here calling it what it is, a sad attempt at relevance. Clark's being nice to nice, if you ask me. She's out here saying stuff like olds, obviously the really sad face. I'm usually around an injury special late, came into the with, or is Kim, was Angel especially, and you're like your C or Fish or the Zero Sister list or years those girls AIDS and for like a New Vegas, Charlotte or Motor is up there is not the best lead. Seriously, Caitlin, that's the kind of sportsmanship you're bringing to the table, while Recess out here taking cheap shots. Clark's too classy to even bother roasting her. But don't worry, Angel, the rest of us aren't holding back. We see through your pity party tactics. And Angel, Reese loves to think people are tuning into the WNBA for her. Oh please, let's not kid ourselves, those viewership stats aren't even close to backing that up. Why we watch him of his vast was not just the one person, is because a meeting like that Reese might be walking around convinced she's the reason people are glued to their screens. But let's be real for a second, the numbers, they are all pointing to Caitlin Clark. Ever since Clark set foot in the WNBA, viewership has shot through the roof, and it's not because any rushing to see Reese stir up her usual off-court drama. No, people are tuning in to witness Clark's legendary performances, not researched illusions of grandeur. I'm not saying that she's lying about any of this, but when she then throws and black Caitlin Clark fans do this, just that little piece of information, that just that little thing that is gonna stir up more controversy and people coming back at Yale. These experts didn't sugarcoat it thing, and why should they? The facts are staring Reese right in the face, but she's too busy shading Clark and her fans to notice. Reese loves to pretend like she's the one with the real impact, but all she's really doing is distracting herself from the cold hard truth. Caitlin Clark is running the show, and no amount of Reese's social media antics is going to change that. So while Reese keeps obsessing over her so-called impact on the league, Clark is out here game after game showing everyone who the real star is. She's not busy talking trash, she's busy letting her stats and her record-breaking performances do the talking for her. And that's something Reese can't handle. Angel, Reese might not want to admit it, but the truth is clear as day to everyone else. Clark is the one dominating the WNBA, while Recess just trying to keep her name in the conversation, and honestly it's not working. The gap between them is only getting bigger, and the only thing Reese seems to be leading and is how much shade she can. But she doesn't win games, Angel, talent does, and that's where Clark's got you beat.